She's back. Charlsey is with us now. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much, Donna. It's so good to see you.
So good to see you too. We kind of became friends since your first visit, and I've been keeping up with you. So you are doing amazing things.
Thank you.
Self-worth and confidence. That's the basis of everything. Why is that so important? Especially with high achievers, dreamers, schemers. Why do they need to kind of keep that all in check?
Yeah, absolutely. Such a great question. So as big dreamers and high achievers, we have a lot of desires. We want to do more. We feel called to leave a legacy, to create our own mission in the world. And so with that, our beliefs have to follow suit with that as our desires grow, our sense of self needs to become more solidified, else we are all over the place, and it's so easy to quit. It's so easy to think that something is wrong with us. It's so easy to think that we don't have what it takes or that we're not doing enough. And so, yeah, that's why it's so important.
Sometimes things take time, right? Sometimes, you'll have that inner balance and you'll know where you're going, but yet the universe just doesn't seem to answer your beckoning call, right? What can we do as high achievers to kind of balance that, to know that everything does sometimes take a little time? What can we do? What steps can we take when we're in that meantime between here and where we want to be?
Yeah, exactly. So what I hear you asking is about trusting the process.
Yes.
How do you trust the process?
You said that so much better, Charlsey.
How do you trust the process?
How do you trust the process?
And more so, how do you trust yourself in the process? Because it can be so easy for us to look at our social media following. Oh my goodness, it's not growing as fast as I want it to grow, or I'm not bringing in as much income as I want to bring in, or my spouse doesn't support me, my mom doesn't support me. So what do we do when the external doesn't back up what we feel on the inside? And how do we stay true to ourselves? And it's really about trusting ourselves, learning how to trust ourselves. What does it feel like to trust ourselves so that we can always have our own back and be good no matter what is going on around us?
I love that.
Yes.
A lot of times, me personally, my highs are very high and my lows are very low. Right? But if I cry in the shower, because then, it's no need to just kind of washes the tears away. So I have my own little tricks and mechanisms. I also love other people's motivational mantras, and I take them on as my own sometimes. Do you do that? Do you have posters up and little nice sayings? How do you personally thrive on a day-to-day?
Yeah, absolutely. So those things are great, having the mantras and that sort of thing. From my perspective, when it comes to affirmations, it's so important for that to come from a place of overflow rather than a mantra as a place of I have to get to. That if we say, I am enough for who I am. Well, if that's your mantra, but you don't internally believe that about yourself, then consciously your mind is going to whisper, no, you don't. No, you don't. So what are we? We're really working against ourselves at that point. So for me, it's all about, first of all, surrounding myself with the people, the supporters in my life, and knowing which role these people fall into. It's also a matter of prioritizing who I'm being in each and every single moment. So I'm constantly checking in with myself. How am I feeling emotionally? If I'm feeling a negative emotion, that means that there's a negative thought going on. So what's going on here? Let's do some work and check in. And then I also have these little anchor points. I always start my day with a bath. I always take a nap, generally around midday. I always do yoga. So those things really center
Routine.
And ground me into who I am so that I can focus more on who I'm being than what I'm doing.
Lovely. Now, because we do know one another, I thought that it was really interesting about this phrase where it says, how do you know when you've aligned with the fullness of who you are? I like that, right? How do you know? How do you know when your cup is full and maybe even overflowing,
Yes.
right? How do you know? What steps or balances can you, checkpoints can you check in with yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first answer is that it looks different for all of us.
Okay.
And so I know that can also kind of be discouraging to hear that, because we also love hearing the steps 1 through 3 of what we can do.
Can you just give me the easy potion, lotion, or the trick, right?
Exactly.
Instant gratification.
But that's
right.
the beauty of getting to know who we are, because we get to create our own formula, our own steps of what that looks like. And to answer your question, the best place I start with my clients is centering around the feelings. What is your dominant feeling now? And can we get to a place where you feel satisfied the vast majority of the time? Do you feel peace the vast majority of the time? Do you feel lit up the vast majority of the time? So really getting to that place. Like right now, I have chills. Right now, I'm lit up inside. So I know that I'm very much in alignment with the fullness of who I am. And there's no question. There's no question.
So my show used to be called Live It Up. And it still has that same mission, that same essence, right? At its core, it's like live it up. And I feel good on show days. I know, like, I can't sleep the night before. I'm super excited. I go through all my notes. I get it. I'm ready for the game. I show up. And I'm hoping that it's not raining out too hard, so people don't have to get here in the rain. I mean, I'm an overthinker. I've always been an overthinker, right? But then when it comes to the moment, like I'm present to you, and I get excited, and I love, showcasing you and being present to you. In your business, right? How do people onboard with you? Do they come visit you in person? Do you do some things online?
Absolutely. And the first thing I want to say is you are in your element. You are totally in your element on recording day. This is where the universe wants you. You are right where where the universe wants you. And for me, the first thing is that I have a podcast. It's called Seeing Your Inner Brilliance, where I interview other big dreamers and high achievers. And so the premise behind that is to, one, normalize our big dreams, normalize our crazy things that we want to do in this world, and simultaneously normalize the internal challenges and obstacles that come up for us, because there can be shame, there can be fears, and all of that is normal, but we have to normalize it to begin with. And then also I have 6 different ways of people can work with me so that I can really meet them where they are on their journey to believing in themselves and feeling solid in who they are.
And remembering to put gas in the tank. A lot of times I forget to eat, I forget to drink, and sometimes I forget to fill my gas tank. And those are normal things too that you can't forget to do as you're achieving big things. Charlsey, thank you very much for being here once again. I love having you. Anytime you want to come up, maybe I'll come down to you next time, but awesome to have you here.
Yes, thank you.
Stay tuned for more. I hope our energy just exuded right out the television screen and right on to you. Be well.